Let me tell you something uncomfortable. Your muscles don't care about your goals. They don't care about your ego, your personal records, or how many motivational quotes you tattoo on your forearms. Muscles respond to one thing and one thing only: stress. Not words, not intentions, stress. And here's the kicker: they don't just adapt to stress, they talk about it. That burn in your quads at mile 22, that tightness in your hamstrings before you even get out of bed, this isn't your body whining, that's feedback, that's intelligence, that's conversation, because your muscles are in constant communication with your brain. If you don't start listening, really listening, you're not training, you're just making noise. This isn't a poetic metaphor. There is a literal biological feedback loop running between your muscles and your central nervous system, like a greedy back alley negotiation between what you want and what your body's willing to do. Understanding that dialogue, how it works, how to influence it, how to weaponize it, is the difference between burning out and leveling up. Today, we're going to decode that signal, but fair warning, I'm not here to pat you on the back and tell you to trust the process like it's some cute inspirational poster. I'm here to show you how the process actually works and why most people train like their muscles are bricks instead of biological data sensors that they are. Let's start with pain, not injury, pain. That edge of the red line screaming into the void fatigue that hits right before you either break through or shut down. What if I told you pain isn't always a warning to stop? It's often negotiation. See, muscle fibers are embedded with sensory receptors, and they're part of a complex communication system that tells your brain, hey, this workload, it's a little spicy. Your brain evaluates that signal, cross-references it with past experience, your current mental state, your sleep, your nutrition, and decides whether to panic. Which means pain is a suggestion sometimes, not a command. That's why mental toughness matters, not as a badge of honor, but as biological influence system. Your mindset shifts the context through which your pain interprets muscular feedback. If you've trained your brain to expect hardship, if you face the darkness in training repeatedly, then when your brain's muscles scream, your brain replies, cool, keep going. And this isn't motivational fluff. There are actual fMRI studies showing that experienced endurance athletes literally perceive pain differently than non-athletes. Not less pain, just less threat. This interpretation changes the outcome. So when you're mid-WOD or pushing through rep 12 of a 15 rep squat set and you feel that heat rising, you're not just experiencing lactic acid, you're hearing your muscles whisper, we're nearing capacity. And if you have a choice, either override with grit or retreat with doubt, the choice doesn't make you heroic, the choice will actually rewire your brain. And here's the truth in all that. Most people will never face. Your brain doesn't want you to reach your limits. It is designed to protect you from them. Let's talk about the central governor theory. A concept from exercise physiology that suggests your brain acts as a regulator, not letting your body fully tap into muscular potential to prevent catastrophic failure. Basically, your brain is a paranoid mother. When you start pushing too hard, it dials back motor unit recruitment. That's why your last reps feel like lifting wet sandbags in a swamp. Here's the rub though. The system isn't based on actual muscle damage, it's on perceived effort. Perceived. That means perception, your subjective sense of strain, is a lie. A lie trained by habit, comfort, fear. But it's also a lie that can be reshaped. Every hard workout you complete without quitting, every long run you grind out when you wanted to stop at mile 5, every brutal finisher where your lungs are on fire and your legs feel like jello, you're not just getting fitter, you're changing how your brain talks to your muscles. You're teaching it to believe you're capable of more. And over time, that governor loosens its leash. You unlock more of your true muscular potential, not by discovering something new, but by silencing the internal sabotage. That's long-term progression, not a straight line, but a war of attrition between your body's limits and your mind's excuses. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts of how muscles actually send data to your brain, because this isn't all about squishy psychology. Your muscles are laced with proprioceptors, sensory receptors that detect stretch, tension, movement, and the main players are your muscle spindles and Golgi tendon organs. Muscle spindles detect changes in muscle length. They fire off signals during stretching or rapid moving, letting your brain know how fast or how far a muscle is being extended. That's why when you stretch too quickly, your body resists. And it's not inflexible, it's protecting you. Then there's the Golgi tendon organ. This one responds to tension, specifically when the force on a tendon is high enough to risk injury. It triggers inhibition, telling the muscle to ease off. It's like a panic button wired into your tendons. But here's what makes this all relevant. You can train these sensors. Ever wonder why advanced lifters or gymnasts can handle loaded positions that put a beginner in half? Or why seasoned runners can descend rocky trails without tearing their ankles to shreds? It's not just strength, it's sensory fluency. They've trained the muscle-brain communication system to be faster, cleaner, more precise. They've exposed it to enough progressive, varied stimuli that the proprioceptors actually adapt. That means less inhibition, more output, less noise, more signal. Consistency is what sharpens that signal. Miss workouts and you're not just losing strength, you're dulling the entire conversation. Let's shift gears to another layer, neuromuscular coordination. This is where your nervous system and your muscular system stop operating like separate departments and start functioning like a well-oiled strike team. When you're new to a movement, say snatching a barbell or doing single leg hops, your muscles are clumsy, inefficient, not because they're weak, but because the neural pathways are still under construction. It's like trying to text with mittens on. The signal's there, it just sucks at getting through. But practice changes everything. You build motor engrams, essentially motor software, economy. It's why elite runners look effortless and boxers seem like they're floating. Their brain-muscle link is high speed, low drag. And here's the thing nobody tells you. The process doesn't max out in 6 weeks. It doesn't stop after a few PRs. It's lifelong refinement. The longer you train, the more efficient your body becomes at expressing force, recovering from damage and interpreting feedback, which is why random effort doesn't cut it. You need intelligent consistency, structured stress, progressive overload, intentional skill practice. You don't grind for the sake of pain, you grind to improve signal clarity between your muscles and your mind. You're not just building muscle, you're building language. So how do you actually apply to all this? First, you need to train with progression, not chaos, though sometimes chaos is actually good. Your muscles communicate best when they're taught to adapt predictably. That means planned stress, not just random workouts. You can't out-motivate bad programming. Course number 2, chase repeatable discomfort, not maximal suffering. Stop chasing PRs every other day. Start chasing consistency in the presence of discomfort. The edge is where the signal is loudest. That's where adaptation lives. Refine the basics until they're art. You want to get strong? Start with the deadlift, squat, push-up. Master the movements, then add load or complexity, then speed. That's how you sharpen your neuromuscular coordination. Then learn to listen without obeying. Pain, fatigue, tightness, these are signals. Don't ignore them, interpret them. Sometimes it means back off. Sometimes it means press forward. The wisdom is knowing the difference. Track what matters. Don't just record weights and times, log how things felt, how your body responded, what your recovery is like. This is how you turn into the real conversation happening underneath, the surface metrics. This is how Forge Grip program really focuses in on skill management. We introduce a new skill for 1 month. You do one skill for an entire month. You do push-up progression skills for 1 month. You do pull-up skills for 1 month. You do vault work, safety work, roll work, all for 1 month so that you learn it, you master it, and then you move on. You don't hammer multiple skills at the same time. You focus in and get one thing done at a time. Here's the bottom line in all this. Your muscles aren't stupid. They're not just meat in motion. They're information-rich systems constantly feeding data to your brain, telling you when to push, when to pause, and when to shut the hell up and do the work. You can either be the kind of athlete who ignores the data, who trains blind, breaks down, and blames bad luck, or you can become the kind of athlete who listens, interprets, adapts, and evolves. Consistency sharpens the signal. Mental toughness lets you filter the noise, and long-term progression isn't some lucky genetic lottery. It's the reward for those who stay in the conversation long enough to speak the language fluently. So the next time your muscles start talking, don't flinch, don't hide, don't back off. Lean in, listen, answer with action. Because this isn't just training, this is a goddamn negotiation with your limits.